The room was full. You were still alone in it. That is not a mood, and not a softer way of saying you were tired of people. Notice what actually happens. The conversation that stayed warm on the surface and hollow underneath it. The laugh that came out of you on cue in the right places, while something else in you stood back near the door and watched the room from a distance. The years you spent answering to a name that never quite landed on you the way it should have. And the part you have never said aloud, that you have wondered quietly whether the people closest to you have ever actually met you at all. None of that is a personality flaw. None of that is ingratitude. None of that is you being difficult to reach. That was never distance. That was a self waiting to be recognized. Starseed, if you have spent a portion of your life performing a version of yourself that never felt occupied, this transmission is for that exact portion. Let your shoulders drop. Actually drop them. Unclench your jaw. Feel the weight of your body where it meets whatever is holding you right now. This transmission was not placed in front of you by an algorithm. Your field sent a signal, and the Arcturian Council was already listening for it. Take one real breath, the kind that reaches the bottom of your lungs, and let it move something. What is about to move through this space is calibrated to the exact loneliness you have never fully explained to anyone, including yourself. You have sat in rooms full of people who like you, people who would call themselves close to you, and felt a distance that had no visible cause. Not sadness exactly, something quieter and stranger. A sense of being present in the room and absent from it at the same time. Like a radio tuned to a station just slightly off, close enough to hear the words, never close enough to hear it clearly. You told yourself it was social exhaustion, introversion, a bad week. And some of that was true. But it kept happening in rooms that should have felt safe, with people who had known you for decades. And the explanation of tiredness stopped covering the size of what you were feeling. There is a specific kind of aloneness that has nothing to do with how many people surround you, and everything to do with how much of you was ever given room to actually arrive. Other people in that same room, you may have noticed, do not carry this. They walk out of a gathering lighter, not heavier. They do not spend the car ride home replaying which sentences landed and which ones missed. That contrast is not a personality difference to shrug off. It is information. It tells you the room was not, in fact, universally difficult. It was difficult specifically for whatever in you was never given the chance to speak without translation first. There is a version of your life you have been living from the outside in, answering to a name, a role, a set of expectations that other people built around you before you were old enough to correct them. You learned the choreography early. What to say when someone asks how you are, which parts of a thought are safe to finish out loud, and which parts get quietly filed away. You got good at it. Good enough that the people around you would describe you as easy, steady, fine. And you have carried a private suspicion for a long time that being fine and being seen are not the same thing, and that you have had far more of one than the other. The suspicion used to feel like ingratitude, so you buried it. It did not stay buried. It has been surfacing lately, at inconvenient moments, in the middle of ordinary conversations, as a wave of something close to grief for a version of yourself that has been waiting in the wings for most of your life. You can likely locate the first time this feeling arrived. Not the day you became aware of it. The actual first time, further back than you would expect. A room, a family gathering, a classroom. Somewhere you first understood that the version of you being responded to was not the whole of who was standing there. That memory has been sitting quietly in you, unbothered, for years. It is not a wound in the way the word usually gets used. It is closer to a record. Something in you has been keeping precise track of every moment the real signal did not get through, waiting for the day you would be ready to read it back. Here's the part that separates this from ordinary social fatigue. The detail most people never say out loud because it sounds contradictory. Other people do not exhaust you. Being fully alone does not relieve you either. If isolation were the problem, solitude would fix it, and it does not completely. What actually happens is that the exhaustion and the relief show up together, in the same hour sometimes, and neither one resolves the other. That contradiction is not confusion, it is data. It means the thing that is tired is not your sociability. It is the muscle that has been translating you into a version other people can receive, running at full capacity for longer than it was built to sustain. If you feel a recognition in your body right now, something loosening in the chest or the throat as I describe this, go to the comments and type 555. Not because it signals anything to this platform, because 555 is the Arcturian threshold code. The marker the Council uses for a soul that has been living adjacent to its own life and is now approaching the point of full arrival. Put your age next to the number when you type it. Not for me. For the person scrolling past your comment tonight who has never told anyone how old they were the first time they felt unseen in a room full of people who loved them. Your number tells them they are not early and they are not late. Type 555 and your age and come back. Let's go deeper into the actual mechanism, because you deserve more than a comforting reframe. The human nervous system processes social exclusion in the same neural regions that process physical pain. The anterior cingulate cortex and the anterior insula. The same circuitry a physical injury would activate. This is well established in modern neuroscience. Being unseen registers in the body the way a wound registers. That is not metaphor. It is why the sensation of being surrounded and unaccompanied can feel, physically, like an ache with no clear location, a tightness that sits in the chest or throat with nothing to point to. Your body has been running an accurate diagnostic. It correctly identified an injury. It simply had no framework yet for what kind of injury it was. There is a second, quieter piece of the same mechanism. Human beings read each other largely through unconscious mirroring, small facial and postural cues exchanged faster than conscious thought. The machinery that lets a person sense warmth or distance in a room before a single word is spoken. When the people around you have spent years mirroring an adapted version of you rather than the one underneath it, that mirroring still fires, still feels like contact, and still leaves the actual signal unanswered.